Welcome to Realcast, the weekly roundup of the real asset markets. I'm joined this week by Dan Innes and Nicole Dines. And of course, we've seen the UK economy and the pound in severe trouble this week, and discussions I've been having, where a lot of investors are saying the UK, and to a lesser extent for American investors particularly, are absolutely on sale at the moment. Dan, what have you been following?
It's been a really busy week, Richard. This week in London, we've had the Completely Retail Marketplace event at Billingsgate Market, seeing lots of the retail and leisure community coming together with Revo, the retail community membership body in the UK, talking about all the kind of deals that are happening around the UK, lots of activity. And then later in the week, the London Real Estate Forum was also held, which is much more politics and planning and construction and development focused around London and Greater London. It's been a very, very busy week for face-to-face meetings. But in terms of deals, this week, we've seen the Box Park team, which obviously started life in Shoreditch near Liverpool Street, there to open a new 21,500 square foot venue in Liverpool at Keynes Brewery Village. And that's going to include 750 homes and a 94-bedroom hotel, in addition to the standard kind of fare, which we're probably used to with schemes in Wembley and in Croydon. They've signed a 15-year lease for 16,000 square foot of the actual Box Park concept, which is going to have about 400 restaurant covers in it. It's going to have 10 different kitchens and 3 bars in it, and a 5,500 square foot external terrace as well. So Box Park, quite a dynamic brand in the retail and leisure and entertainment space. So good to see them expanding. Elsewhere, Investec Real Estate, they've actually surpassed the £1 billion PBSA lending milestone. And that's obviously that's the build-to-rent student accommodation purpose-built market. They've achieved that following the arrangement of a 51-month, £65 million loan to Scape, which is a place for students to live and work with about 6 locations across the UK, principally London. But that's to support the development of a 693-unit scheme in Leeds, which is due for completion in the 2024-2025 academic year. Other deals from Investec include co-living scheme in Guildford and also a £64 million loan to CA Ventures as well. So, an active time for Investec. Other news, Quintain have raised £227 million for build-to-rent projects within their Wembley master plan. They've secured that finance deal to build about 760 different build-to-rent homes in Wembley Park. And that's backed by US investment bank JP Morgan, providing the funding to construct 2 residential buildings in the northeast lands area of the Wembley Park site. And that's going to deliver that figure out of the new 2,000 home master plan for that area, with shops, cafes, restaurants. Wembley Park really kind of maturing, I think, is the messaging I'm hearing across the market. And finally, Oxford Properties, they've sold their controlling hold over the Royal Exchange in the city, which is a premium luxury retail floor with restaurants in the city, and that's been bought by Ardent. They've acquired the asset, which is formerly the financial heartland of the city, but they've acquired it for £50 million, and that deal is going to enable Oxford Properties to recycle capital into its sort of high focus upon new markets that they have, like life sciences and logistics and resi. But Ardent's, that's adding to their portfolio, which last year included Touchwood in Solihull, and they've actually built up quite a large, significant logistics portfolio as well. Royal Exchange, it's 51,500 square feet of retail. It's let to high-end boutiques for the likes of Hermès, Montblanc, Tiffany, Watches of Switzerland, Aspinall. It's an established, real, kind of iconic flagship retail destination in the city. And so, it's going to, see how it's fared, in the city with retail recovering post-pandemic now that people are returning to work. So I think a pretty clever investment from Ardent.
Yeah, interesting as well, that discussion around logistics. We'll be focusing a lot on that at EXPO Real this week. But also I saw Valor investing 30 million in last mile assets in Lyon and Paris. So interesting to see that. Nicole, what have you been tracking?
Well, sticking with London, it was interesting to see that the Lots Road power station in Chelsea, after 20 years of planning and construction, has finally released its 260 flats. It's the oldest power station in London, older than the famous Battersea Power Station or the one that became Tate Modern. It used to power the whole underground network until 1985, until quite recently. It's a very spectacular development. Prices are quite high, start at 1.7 million. It'd be interesting, I guess it'd be mainly cash buyers these days, not many people having to rely on a mortgage, I guess, will be queuing up to buy those, given the crisis in the UK. But mainly I've been focusing on sort of looking ahead to EXPO Real, which is happening in Munich from Tuesday. And we've been writing up EXPO Day, the daily for EXPO Real. And so looking mainly at German companies. And it seems there's a lot of activity in Germany and focusing on the three strong trends after the pandemic. One is food-anchored retail, and MEAG, the asset manager of Munich Re, has acquired a portfolio of 7 convenience centers from Tri Real Estate, saying that, food-anchored retail park properties remain very high on investors' agenda on their shopping list because it's a crisis-resistant investment, as we've seen during the pandemic. The other big trend, obviously, is logistics. There are more deals in that space. Verdion, a logistics specialist, has announced its second European fund. It's raising 400 million. It's talking about market being, underpinned by very strong occupier demand. And the GAG Immobilien is also planning to build a modern and sustainable business park in the Nuremberg region of Germany. The other trend is, of course, ESG. We've interviewed Anna Kroger, the CEO Europe of Allianz Real Estate. They've got this 2050 net zero goal, and she's explained how she plans to reach it, and saying that the biggest achievement, in her view, is the fact that they've managed to put ESG at the top of everyone's mind across the organization. So very clear goals and path to achieving them. And also on the ESG front, NAS Invest has bought the Horizon Tower in Frankfurt's Ashbourne district, and it just proves that offices are still very popular with investors, provided they are flexible, that they're flexible space, ESG compliant, and close to transport links. So offices are still very much in demand if they tick all those boxes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the clear things that's been coming through. I've spent most of the last part of the week on speaker preparation calls for the program that we've got on the International Investors Lounge, and some very clear things coming through from that bifurcation in the market between ESG becoming prime and anything else becoming not prime. And for sure, what was BREEAM very good is no longer very good at all. Nobody's really looking for those sorts of things. So real change there. But of course, as well in the market, everybody looking at what's happening with interest rates, how that's affecting the financing, what's going to then happen in terms of yields, and where that will leave the market, because obviously at the moment a huge difficulty in terms of pricing and assessing exactly where pricing is. And also what will happen, of course, with capital raising as well. So really fascinating time in the market at the moment. Huge amount to talk about at EXPO Real. And I look forward to seeing everybody there in Munich. Thanks very much, Dan. Thank you, Nicole. And hopefully see you in Munich this week. Thank you.